Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel DIY with Mini John. I am Nishant and this is my basement workshop. In this video of the tool board series, I will show you how to make a chisel holder and a screwdriver holder using pine wood. And while you watch and learn from this video, I will be preparing for my next video in which I will apply a damp proof coating on this wall and we will put the tool board back again and rearrange the tools. We will start with our project now. To make the chisel holder, I have chosen this plank of pine. It's a number 1 grade pine and the 12 after that indicates the total length of board. That was before I cut it in a piece of 3 feet. For our project, we will need a 18 by 2.5 inch piece. So I will cut a 2.5 inch piece along the length and then we will chop it in a 18 inch piece. Before starting work with any power tools, I highly recommend that you should have a hearing protection, a good quality safety glass, and a dust mask if you don't have dust collection in your workshop. And you should also follow all the safety instructions that come with your power tool. Before attempting any project, you should get proper understanding and training of the machine. Now that we have cut our piece to approximate length, we will start taking markings for the chisel. Now in order for the chisel to fix, I have to remove some wood. So I will take approximate marking and I will transfer that marking to the edge and then cut out a piece. Now I will take that marking to the side, but I will not cut it all the way through, but I will leave about an inch from the back so that it has more mass to hold on to the board. So I will approximately remove this piece, and to do that I will make a half cut over here and then set my table saw and make this cut. The correct way to determine the distance between two of your chisels is to keep them and see what distance works out for you visually, and it should be comfortable to hold a chisel and pull it out of the rack. If they are too close, then you will always be struggling to get the chisels out and you might even hurt yourself. I have found that if I keep a 22 mm gap between the handles, then I will get a very good layout for my chisels. Also, I will try to make measure drawings of all my projects in future. But for this particular project, you might have a different brand of chisels, a different set of chisels, or maybe you have a more number of chisels. So it makes it really difficult to make a standard drawing. So I will rather try to explain the method that I have adopted to make my chisel rack. Now I am done with the markings. I started off from the center. So I marked the center on one of the edges, transferred it over here, and then marked all the places where I have to drill for mounting the chisels. When we start from center, we can evenly space out, and whatever is left on the corners are equal on both the sides. Before doing any machining on our main piece, I will make a sample on scrap to see if everything works out. After making some samples in scrap piece, I have found the settings that work best. Now I will set my table saw and make this cut. After cutting this slot on the table saw, you can now see that it works fine. So now we will start working on the actual piece. We have come over to my drill press now. Using the reference from our sample piece, we will start machining on our holder. For machining this, we will use 3-step method. First, we will make a 35 mm hole on the top that's about 8 mm deep. Then we will use a 15 mm drill all the way through, and then we will use a 16 mm countersink just to make a slight collar to hold the chisel firmly in place. And here is a tip for you: whenever you are doing multiple drills on the same spot, always start with the largest hole, because if you drill the center hole first, you will have no center reference for making the other drills. I have installed the 35 mm bit. Now I will set the cut depth to 8 mm. To do that, I will simply mark a 8 mm depth on the side of my piece. I will use the depth stop on left side of my machine and lock it in place. Now for the second step, that is 15 mm drill, that will be all the way through. I already have my centers marked from the 35 mm bit. So I will use that and drill all the holes. Now we are done with 35 mm and 15 mm drills. And in case you were wondering why I haven't cut the bottom portion that I had mentioned earlier, that is because when you drill a through hole using a Forstner bit, you might get blowouts like these. Now you could see these chip outs on the bottom. So when we will cut this part, we will get rid of all those and we will have a nice clean finish on the bottom as well. Now for the last drilling operation, I have attached this countersink bit, and I will just mark a line using my marker and use that as a reference to create the countersink. I will now slowly remove the waste using crosscut sled on my table saw. We are done with all the cuts on table saw, and our chisel holder is now complete. I will just knock out the edges on the sander. After some minor sanding, our chisel holder is now ready. To mount the chisel, we just have to insert it through the slot, and it's going to stay in place. It will never fall off on its own. So you can either choose to mount them like this, so the whole rack looks symmetrical, or you can mount them like this so that you can identify the blade by its width. Thanks for watching. I hope the video was helpful to you. If you liked the video, then please click the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. In the next part of this video, I will show you how to mount the tool board and attach all the accessories. Until then, keep making.